Well, hello, everyone. This is Liz Miller, VP and Principal Analyst here at Constellation Research, coming to you with episode 18 of Constellation Research TV with my co-host and distant cousin, Holger Mueller. Holger, we're legal. It's episode 18, buddy.
Exactly. In Europe, we're legal. We're allowed to drink not only beer, which starts at 16, but also wine and high percentage spirituals. So this is the adult episode of Constellation TV.
Time to get crazy. The adult episode. I like that. It's going to be the adult word vote. All of a sudden, like everyone's clicking off. They're like, we can't listen to this.
Yeah. All of a sudden, everything goes beep, beep, beep.
Right. We've got no standards board watching over us, so this is just going to get wild after episode 18. But listen, as always, and with every episode we like to bring you a little section up top known as the news. So, Holger, what has been happening in your world? Listen, lots of people getting investment, lots of people moving around, lots of shifts, but also lots of events. So fill me in. What's been happening in your world?
Yeah, let's look at the ERP world and start with market leader SAP, right? The little tuck-in acquisition with Swoop Talent, a people analytics platform. We should see that being surfaced in the SuccessFactors product sooner than later. Interesting acquisition as usual. Interesting news from Workday as well, right? So they managed to, they're coming from big numbers, and every quarter they're shrinking a little bit. This is the first quarter where Workday reversed the turn and grew again year over year. So congratulations to them, and maybe it's going to be a longer lasting effect, but of course it's harder with the comparables getting harder and more difficult. And Workday, also staying with that, announced that they will support Google Cloud. Congratulations to them for that. Now available in AWS and Google Cloud. So they're just missing one. Which one is it, Liz? That's missing.
I don't know.
Azure, of course, the big three.
Oh, right? Yeah, that little company up north. Yeah, sure, those wacky kids up at Microsoft.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, listen, hey, let me ask you this. With Workday, I think it's really interesting with Workday because, I think a lot of folks there was a little bit of that confusion of like, are they going to have another rough quarter? Is it going to be this? But, it was some pleasant news. It was some big news. What would you attribute that to? What are you seeing them start to do differently? What's getting them back onto that growth pattern?
I think it's the growth of the suite and the maturity of the suite, right? And much more than just HR and finance, and being able to sell that to their customers. On the flip side, all customers are kind of like consolidating things and saying, we're in a pandemic, we don't know exactly what happens. Let's use the licenses and the offerings of the vendors we have and expand our footprints, because we don't want to have the problem of integrating more best-of-breed pieces. We want to have one running suite, and that helps all the suite vendors, not just Workday.
But do you also think, it's interesting because I think I've heard a lot of people, and probably more so in the last, I want to say like 2 months or so, as we really start to try to navigate what post-pandemic part 3 starts to look like, because post-pandemic part 1 is very different than post-pandemic part 3, right? But when we start to talk about that, the role of our people and how we as an organization create those experiences for our people is very, very different. It feels different. Are you kind of hearing that same thing? Are you seeing that? And is Workday going to play a role in that?
Well, the whole leadership experience is different, right? When we function like, if you reduce humans to what we are water bubbles, 85% water, and walking 3D processors, right? We're very good at 3D processing, right? We're doing this on this flap that's an insult to our CPU
right.
Up here, right? We're very good
able to replicate it.
Right, and when we see people in person, we know, body language, voice, we can process in 0.something seconds the whole package and see, that person's not having a good day, that person doesn't have a great day, right? And in Zoom, much more difficult, or whatever you be using to figure that out. If you're being so remote, they kind of like lose some of the tissue. Now, that's a challenge in general for HR vendors, because they've usually been looking at the system of record and the legal stuff and staying away from all the leadership parts. Yes, the little talent management organization. So it will be very interesting to see if the reliance on HR vendors like Workday, SuccessFactors, you keep talking about that, or Ceridian, ADP, right? We just taped Salon 50 with the CTO of ADP, Don Weinstein, this morning. If they will come out of the system of record part and provide some of the soft skills, which go clearly in the Microsoft and Google domain, right? The people who have know your calendar, know what they're doing, saying, hey, Liz has not been emailing since 24 hours. You might better check on her. Right?
Yeah.
Like that,
it's that collaboration. right? Isn't that like kind of it feels to me that like it's getting back to the heart of what folks like success factors were kind of originally way back in the day we're talking about, right? Of that understand your people, it's not just understanding your people, it's understanding people and then bringing that all together so that, you know, it's all coming together in a different way. Which kind of brings me up to, I'm going to jump in and just say, brings me up to some of my news.
Sorry about that, but staying with us for 30 seconds. Will be very interesting to see, because SAP SuccessFactors move with all the Qualtrics part to HXM, what they really can glean and do better, because they're uniquely qualified, right? In Workday just bought the Sentiment company, name escapes me right now by heart, right? SAP has 2.5, 3 years advantage on that, so let's see if they can do something tangible there. Then always the question is, what does Oracle do, right?
But that's also, you know what, it's so interesting because that's also a big trend that's happening across things like field service, right? It is a big trend that's happening across whether it's HR, it's people wanting to understand where community and sentiment and people all start to collide, because you can read reports all day long and you can think you know what's happening with your people, but then all of a sudden you look at something like a customer bill which just got brought in, you know, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, so everyone actually hates us, you know. So I think it's kind of leading to that new less fluffy meaning of knowing your people, right? It's not about like, let's all hold hands. It's really about like, how do we get the most out of what people want to do? It's a very different conversation, which I think is exciting.
Mean to employee experience, and it will be interesting which category of software will take the grab and take the lead on this. Right?
Oh,
but
yeah.
Your news, Liz, right? So
my news. Well, listen, you know, last week, or gosh, the last 2 weeks, it's all been about the Plus, right? Everybody had to come out with their own Plus. Paramount Plus, thank you for the Paw Patrol so much. But then you also had folks like Salesforce Plus, right? It's going to be the media giant and the way we consume industry content is kind of that vision. And so Microsoft, not to be outdone, Microsoft now has a new personalized reading experience that they're bringing out with their Microsoft News. So it's going to be called Microsoft Start. So lots of things happening there. I think that this is really pointing to a much bigger trend when it comes to how we consume and where we consume and how we start to rethink what content is, right? Because I think there are lots of different versions and lots of different names of what content is and how we create it. And I think every enterprise is creating it in a different way. And I think folks like Salesforce, folks like Microsoft, you know, certainly the big digital giants are having to really rethink everything from news to content to just what flashes across a screen, because you know what, we've been sitting at home in front of screens for 2 years now. Like, I don't know how much more of this I can take. Like, there's only so much I can watch.
We're getting to the 2 years, but you're absolutely right. There's so much content out there, and figuring out how to get people on top of the content and serving me the right content. I still use Flipboard, despite I'm not happy with the algorithms anymore. There's somehow got lost, or I didn't use the right things and so on. But it's still nice, right? To just flip through the news and good, not good, whatever.
It's how you want to consume it, right? And I think, you know, going back to the conversation we just had about employees want to read things how they want to consume it too. It's, you know, the concept and the idea around content as a construct, as content is the big picture, content is the story, content is, you know, everything that comes together, and then redefining what an asset is so that we can start to create a bit of a different mindset around what we're creating, how we create it, to make it so people want to consume it, right? Because people don't necessarily want to consume a 30-page PDF. They want to maybe hear a quick soundbite of it, or they want to come to CRTV and hear the news from Holger and Liz, or Doug and Andy, or anyone else. So, listen, that's
the thing, right? We're over time here.
Yeah, we're over time, so that's going to do it for us. But listen, we've got a great show coming up for you. We have got a quick update from Holger, actually, on a couple of his short lists. So I just put him on the tag officially on that one. Holger and I are going to come back and have a little conversation about something that we do a lot, talk, and that gets often overlooked. And then we have got a new victim in the salon. In fact, our first invited guest is going to enter the salon, so you are going to get to know a whole new executive in the world of enterprise technology. So be sure to stick around for that in the very last block, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Can't wait for that. Hello everybody, it's Holger here talking about all the 7 future of work shortlists that have come out this quarter. Quickly reminder, what are shortlists all about? They're all about helping accelerating the decision-making progress. These are vendors which we trust for you as an enterprise decision maker, in this case most likely head of HR, to jump over the long list, the middle list, just jump into the short list. So with no further ado, let's talk about these 7, I mentioned 7 global HCM suites, payroll for North American SMBs, talent acquisition for North America, compensation management, workforce management, and European-centric talent management suite, and last but not least, of course, benefits. So let's jump in all of these with no further ado here, starting with the global HCM suites. Because of time restrictions, I'm not going to talk about all of them, but highlight like key criteria here. For instance, that most of talent management, 3 out of 5 of the recruiting, onboarding, performance management, succession management, and learning need to be supported. Very important is the support for more than 4 continents, because it's about global HCM, and 15 languages supported in the system. So who are the happy vendors in this regards who are part of this selection? These are, with no further ado, ADP, Info, Oracle, SAP, and Workday. And off to our next shortlist, which is about North American payroll for North American small, medium businesses, which again on the selection criteria is highlighted, selected a mobile app for employees, regular compliance updates, very, very important, especially during the pandemic times, and at least on the roadmap, some of the things near and dear to my heart, which is always on payroll, the capability to always have an up-to-date payroll for an employee in enterprise. Who are the 5 vendors who are part of this? They are ADP, they are Ceridian Dayforce, Paychex, Paycor, and UKG. Congratulations to those. Off to the next shortlist, which is North American talent acquisition. Looking at the detailed parts, the most important ones are the best of breed candidate experience, including the branding for that, some AI capabilities, being cautious on this because it can be very difficult for vendors to always provide, and increased onboarding capabilities because we're hiring a lot of people, we're moving a lot of people, we have to get them quickly into the places so they can be productive. Who are the winners in this category? It's Greenhouse, iCIMS, JobVite, Lever, Smart Recruiters. So correct myself, they're not winners. They're the trusted shortlist providers for North American talent acquisition. So with no further ado, off to the next list, which is compensation management. In compensation management, the important features which we want to highlight are especially the explanation of compensation changes to employees, which is super crucial, so they know what they're being paid for. Continuous improvement of the enrollment experience, because we all know that is very, very hard and not good. And at least mobile support, because people spend more time on their mobile phones, for over 200,000 users to be part of the shortlist. Who made it into the shortlist? Congratulations to ADP, Beacom, HRsoft, Paylocity, Payscale, and Salary.com. Off to the next shortlist, which is all about workforce management suites. Let's look at the key capabilities out of the 7, if I count this correctly, or 6 which are relevant. Scheduling, shift planning, the ability of always on scheduling. The same thing like in payroll. Payroll has always to be up to date, as well as workforce scheduling has to be up to date. Compliance management, very similar there as well. You have to have up-to-date compliance management with all the changes that are happening, and more companies need to be more flexible, so gig workforce support is super crucial. Who are the 5 winners in this category? Not winners again, shortlisted vendors: ADP, Ceridian Dayforce, Replicon, UKG, and Workforce Software. Hopefully I'm not going too fast, but I'm trying to stay in my time limit allotted to me here by our producers. And European-centric talent management suites are next. What are the key threshold criteria? The key threshold criteria are to support at least 10 languages out of the box. I missed some highlighting here. The bulk of the business, because European vendors, has to happen in Europe, and supported for at least 5 countries has to be there. Who are the vendors here? Sagit, Docebo, Haufe Umantis, Sage, and Talentsoft, with the Sage and Talentsoft merger pretty much happening as we speak, and provided the shortlist. Off to the last one, right? Last but not least, benefits administration, always kind of like the stepchild or the seasonal capability. What are the criteria for benefits administration? They are so long, there's a long list, so You see how complex the topic is. So easy setup for enrollment mechanics for benefits admins to make it easy to run the application, to set up the application, enrollment reminders on progress and communications, and analytics that reflect the post-pandemic effect of dollars spent on benefits on things which you might be open, using, and might not be using given the current conditions which are out there. Perfect. This concludes the step bit one for, I believe you missed. Who are the 7 vendors? The 7 winners, not vendors, vendors trusted. Benefit Focus, Business Solver, Castlight Health, Mono Chappelle, Plant Source, Thompson's, and WageWorks. Congratulations to the shortlisted vendors. If you have any questions on this, want to know more about this, think I missed something, love to hear from you. Here's my contact information. Don't be shy. Love to hear from you if I missed something or what might not be right. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching.
Okay, great debate time, Holger. Are you ready? Last time you poked me with CRM versus CX, right? Okay, so I got one. Channel disruption. Bum, bum, bum. Right? Okay, so...
Don't we have them all? Omni-channel?
Omni-channel, right. And aren't bots supposed to be in all of them? Aren't they all supposed to be AI-driven now? But... So yeah. I'm gonna throw out this line from last week's 5.9 had a CX summit. And their CEO Rowan said, "Listen, we have done a disservice to voice," and I thought that was a really interesting statement, right? Because in the call center, right, we kind of have all these bots, we have all these things, but we try to make the actual act of someone calling us as hard as possible, right? Yes. We bury the number, we try to get people off the phone as quick as possible. But
please chat with us.
Right. Like, hey, look at our online chat. And people are like, I just want to talk to someone. So is voice the dying channel? Like, is picking up the phone, is that the channel that's going to be first on the block?
It certainly sounds for a long time, but finally us, the caller, we're getting some help if you're on the right devices, right? As we're name dropping, right? Google has a assistant which is being on hold for you till the live agent comes on.
Right.
That levels the game. I don't care if I'm on hold for 20 minutes because I'm going to get a phone call saying, hey, your agent is finally ready or ready by now, right? So I think that levels the field with the technology and the AI and the whole part. But probably I can understand it having built call center solutions 20 plus years ago. Where voice was really working was all about adding fax originally, right? That was in the 90s, but then email, then SMS and so on. There was always multiple channels, bi-channel, tri-channel, multi-channel, omni-channel, and so on. So that can certainly happen, but there's so much quality on the voice side. On the flip side, I think there has not been enough bots. Right? Where do I speak to a synthetic bot right now? It doesn't happen. It's still a human. And so the experience is not get there yet from the vendor side to provide the electronic assistant, which I think we were hoping by 2021 should be ubiquitous, right? So who should speak to a human? How terrible.
And it's funny because as much as voice, I think, goes often ignored, it goes ignored across everything, right? Voice goes ignored across how can I extract data from a customer's call to really understand what that customer is thinking. We assign a sentiment score to someone's call. But did we actually then go through and mine the transcript of what actually happened in the call, right? I think we ignore voice because it's been really hard to integrate into our systems because, talk about the ultimate piece of unstructured data. Oh, here's your recording file of 2 people having a conversation about something that doesn't actually align to any form field, right? It feels impossible. So because it has felt impossible, we've just decided, oh, well, it's either a plus or a minus. It's red or green. It was a good call. It was a bad call. And we've been ignoring everything in the center. But if we're really talking about CX, and if we really have gotten past our last debate, right, where it's not just about CRM, right, we're really looking at those data systems to kind of evolve and, grow into something more capable of understanding what customer experience is across the enterprise. We have to have something that's going to integrate voice to be a meaningful tool in our intelligence systems. How can we train our people better if they don't really understand the state of what the last conversation was? How can we use it as more than just tattling on people?
Yeah, but I think even the basic blocking and tackling on voice is not really implemented. And the basic blocking are the 3 things of queuing, routing, and blending, right? So
Right.
you get assigned to a queue by some point, but nothing will happen to get you out of that, right? No mechanism pull you out and say, oh, you're this segment of customer, you're waiting too long, you have to move to another one, you're in a time zone which is shutting down, you should prioritize higher. You're in a queue and it's cast in stone, right? Similar to routing, right? So when you speak to
an we have smart routing now. Like, people have it
since 20 plus years, but it doesn't happen. Where do you hit redial to 1-800 number and someone says, oh, Holger, you're calling back? Did we forget something? You want to order something else? No, why don't I get the same agent?
Did you want to go to our online FAQ? Right.
No, it's a mystery to me. The agent is wrapping up my call and I'm hitting redial. And why don't I get to that agent? Because I'm the same, right? So in the transaction, nothing has happened, right? No, you have to go in a new queue, different place. And then blending, right? While you're waiting, you're doing something in chat and what is your number again? Your customer number? Where do you live? Validate your address, the nth time, right? Blending is like a myth, right? All the vendors support it, right? But blending is not happening in real life.
And it makes the agent's life miserable, right? Like you look at things like employee experience. I mean, it makes their lives miserable, right? So maybe paying attention to voice actually means paying attention to maybe the solutions that empower it, or maybe the solutions that make it better for the customer. I think there's lots of different ways to go about this, but our 5 minutes are up, my friend.
Hello, everybody. It's Holger Müller here with a new edition of the Constellation Research Salon 50 with my co-host
Liz Miller.
And we're here
with
exactly, the Miller Show. But it's not the Miller Show. It's about 50 questions, which we're going to ask to the man in the middle, Pete Schlamp from Workday, one of the two heads of products there. Hi, Pete. Thanks for the show. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Holger. How are you, Liz? Great to see you. Thank you for having me on. Excited.
Super great to have you here. Pete, how is the product development at Workday going? Everything dumping, or how are things?
Everything's great. Yeah, no, things are going great at Workday. We are, we just had our Q2 earnings report, which came across pretty well. We felt really happy about that. Business is going well, Workday is, Holger, I know we've had a lot of interactions together, but for those that don't know, Workday, we've been doing this for about 15 years, HR and finance software, and then inside the company we have kind of two ways that we build products. So I'm on the product application side of things. Then my colleague Cheyenne Chakraborty is on the technology side of things. But we come together in the middle and hopefully create great products for our customers.
Hopefully it all works together. Fingers crossed, right?
Yes.
What could go wrong in that setup? No, totally fine. I think it makes total sense. But we all know about Workday. We don't know about the 4 medals above your head.
Oh, that's a great question. So those medals are my dad's medals from World War II. My dad, so my dad fought in World War II. He fought on a aircraft carrier in the Pacific called the USS Lexington. It was also called the Blue Ghost. It was they thought it was sunk multiple times, and it wasn't. They survived. It's currently docked in Corpus Christi, Texas, and these are his medals that he took away in World War II.
That's awesome.
Very cool. That's a great way to commemorate it, right? Yep.
I would say my dad probably landed on the deck a couple times because he flew. He was a medic pilot in World War II. So you never know.
I found an old diary of his. My mom pulled it out, but an old diary of his that. He talked about every position that they were at different times in the war, and it was just incredible to hear the stories or to read the stories that he wrote, being in the middle of war. So anyway, that's something I keep up there to remind myself.
Very nice way to commemorate. Very excellent. And you guys make me feel good because I'm feeling young, because my dad was 6 years old when World War II was over. So he was definitely not involved from that perspective. All right. Yeah. But we're here for the Salon 50, right? So the fastest 10 questions in 5 minutes to get to know someone in the software industry and tell a little bit about Liz and me and myself too. So ready to go, Pete?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. Go ahead. Pick a category.
I get to start. Okay.
You get to start.
So Liz, let's start with you. What was your first job that started your career?
Working at the Gap. I was folding t-shirts. And the reason why I say that job is because that's the job that taught me how to ask questions, right? Because the Gap used to train their sales folks that you couldn't ask the question of, are you looking for something today? Because it could be a yes or no answer. And someone could be like, no, and turn around and walk out the store. So you would always ask, what can I help you find? Or what's going to make you feel great today? You ask open-ended questions so that you have to get the customer to start talking to you. So that is my first job in marketing.
Life for learning, Bliss. Your question for Pete.
Okay. What if you could learn a new language instantly? What would it be?
That's pretty easy. It would be Spanish. I know French a little bit, and when I go to Paris, I try to use it. My family laughs at me, but Spanish is just so useful here in the United States, especially in California. Both my kids have learned it. I wish that I could, talk back and forth with them. My wife knows it. It would be great if I could put that in my
Pete. Es muy importante. Next question.
Instant learning. Okay, career. Here we go.
Okay, Holger, this one's for you. What word do you never want to hear again in the workplace?
Oh, I hate the word notion. This is like the most fabulous word. The notion of this, the notion of that. And software executives or marketing, you use it for something which is concrete and specific. You cannot use notion, which is immaterial. So every time you think of the notion of this, I just want to open up whatever. It doesn't go there.
I'm going to use it all the time.
I can't hear notion anymore. Any notion anymore. All right, career. If you didn't do what you do, Pete, what job would you do? What career would you seek?
Oh, that's a good one. I love to be challenged, and I feel like I've tried. So I came up from product management, and then I was a general manager, and for me that meant kind of doing everything, right? But there's one area that I've not done, and I want to be challenged by that, and that's sales. And my colleague Doug Robinson at Workday, I think he's incredible, and I would love just to ride along with him and learn a lot. And it's that fear of rejection, which I've never been very good at, but having the customer say, no, I don't want that. That scares me
awesome.
a little.
Let's hope Anil Bushri, your boss, doesn't hear it and put you into sales and say, sell that.
He probably will.
All right, good. Your turn, Pete.
Okay, great. Liz, how about this? What is the best advice you've ever received?
Be brief, be brilliant, be gone.
And that just means like you're there, you make your impression, and then you're out.
Yeah, drop the mic, walk out.
I like that. And then you'll be remembered.
Yeah, exactly.
Strong impression. Very good.
Okay,
and short and sweet. Go.
Okay, let's see here. What technology or tool is indispensable to how you work and why?
Okay, so this is I love this question because for me it's super simple. A pen and paper, or really a pencil and paper. Technology comes and goes. Phones. I love my iPhone. I love my iPad. I love my Mac. I love all those things. But when I need to think, clear my brain, and get something done, I pull out a blank piece of white copier paper and a pencil. And I start to sketch, right? And I do mind maps, and it just clears my mind. There's that connection with just like the scratch on the paper and making something that helps me think. So
I love that.
It's essential.
That's awesome. Okay, you got to shoot one at Holger.
Okay. Wisdom for me, Pete. Go ahead.
Okay, wisdom for you. All right, Holger, when you retire, what do you want to have achieved?
Oh, I don't want to retire soon, so I haven't thought about this very much, right? I believe very much in lifelong learning and lifelong working, right, to keep this engine going. But I hope people will say I made a difference, right? And every day that's my motivation, that people say, all right, talking to this chap, getting advice, chatting with him, being a friend, whatever, it made a difference in my life. That's actually, I will be happy to go out of saying, few people saying, hey, Holger made a difference in my life.
Yeah, that's great. It's a legacy. It's a legacy with people, right?
Right, exactly. So, sorry, I was in the wrong category. You did great. You picked the right category. You're fault tolerant. I like this. And head of product. So, it's my turn on wisdom. So, what was your biggest aha moment? in your life? What would you say?
My biggest aha moment. So I told you I came up via product management, and as a really early in career product manager, I did a lot of traveling to customers solo. And the thing that was a huge aha for me was seeing different customers in like their place, like where they were, and I got a sense for the industry of each one of these customers, right? And so I remember sitting at Home Depot headquarters and watching the vendors come in the front door with their goods and trying to get them into the Home Depot channel. And I was like, oh, that's how that works, right? And so, and I just loved, and I still do, you know, when I get a chance to go and see customers and see them in their place, it just really gives you a great taste for what they're going through. And it's very different than what we do out every day in the software industry.
Yeah.
The poor software. All right, Pete, hobbies for Liz. Last category.
Okay, hobbies for Liz. Liz, what helps you recharge your battery?
Sleep. Oh gosh. You know what? Just having a moment where I am authentically playing with my 4-year-old. Right? Because it pushes everything out, and she is so unabashedly silly. She's not afraid to try new things. She's a total goofball. And she's, you know, like, just a little bit genetically sassy. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, it just recharges me. I can be down, I can be exhausted, but I see her do something just so goofy, and I'm right back in it. Okay.
And I thought Liz was the Miller show, which would regenerate you at a time. So
yeah, normally talking to Holger totally brings me back to life. I mean,
all right, hobbies. Last question.
Okay, let's see here. If you could play one professional sport, what would it be?
It's easy. It's cliche, but it's golf. I mean, it would be so easy just to be out there and walk the 18 hole. I mean, it would be impossible, right? Anybody that's played knows it's incredibly challenging, and you can never really master it. But wouldn't it be great to be out there walking, a couple miles every day in the nice, sunny sky? I would love to.
And get paid for it.
Yes, and you can do it for a really long time in your life. So
yeah,
I'd like to do that.
Awesome.
So we learned a lot of things about Pete Schlempe today. Thanks for sharing it. He wants to be a professional golfer if we could restart it again. Right? He loves paper to help him think, which is very interesting, which we all have. I think it's conditioning from school, because we all start writing on paper. So we used to have the blank sheet and have to do something on it. I wonder when the new generation will say, give me an empty Word document or a text document.
No one. Yeah, I don't
know.
Ever.
So we are so conditioned. What else did we learn, Listen?
Gosh, what else did we learn? We learned that Pete really likes going to Home Depot to figure out how everyone gets through those initial stalls. So I really like that. But I totally agree. Got to go and see your customer in their environment. It changes the way you think.
Yeah, Pete has a typical software industry syndrome that we don't have something tangible. So when you go to a customer and you see that they manufacture something and a bunch of steel comes out of it, people are like, wow, this is how it works. Yeah, I can totally relate to that.
I like it. Well, Pete, thanks for being our victim, our friend here. We appreciate you coming on. And we appreciate you being part of the Salon 50. So, hey,
thank you so much. It was great, and I learned a lot about you guys too. So,
awesome.
The next time we see each other at a conference, we can pull out our Salon 50 questions and keep going.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Pete. Stay healthy.
Thanks, Pete.
Bye.
All right, bye, everybody. Thank you.
Well, everybody, thanks for watching and following us. The fastest 30 minutes in enterprise software have to come to an end. Many thanks to my co-host,
Liz Miller.
Thanks for watching.
So I have no idea what we're talking about, like literally no clue. I have no idea what's happened in the news for the last week. So this should be a really exciting taping here.
What is an up-to-date topic to talk about? Just Google that and talk about it.
Did you just say the news segment is where I've been quoted?
Yeah.
So basically, the news segment is Holger's ego.
50-50.
Okay, let me. I'm just gonna scroll through TechCrunch here and pretend that I found something that's newsworthy.
Fine. If you want to find something on TechCrunch that you know, I can talk about all of these with authority for 8 minutes. But
Okay, you talk about all of those, and then I'll randomly bullshit about something.
Okay.
I don't care. I curse like a truck driver. Everyone knows that about me. If someone doesn't realize that the woman who spent the first 10 years of her career working in professional sports doesn't curse like a truck driver, we've got a big problem.
what is that? Toss your hair in a butt. I like this. Drink some coffee, put in some gangster rap, and handle it.
Life motto, people.
Oh, life motto. Bitte.
I'm actually kind of surprised. Like someone like CPS hasn't come and gotten me for just how much I listened to pretty much every NWA album while Reagan was in my uterus. Like the fact that she didn't come out saying every like bad word in humanity is a little bit of a miracle. I've been listening to Megan the Stallion all this week, so I don't know what that's going to say about anything I'm writing this week. So God knows, no one read anything I wrote this week.
No.
Wait,
I'm on the ride.
yeah, I know. That's very.
It's very
Right,
unintentional.
I don't. Yeah, it's well. What episode is this? 19? 37? Wait, 18. Oh, 18! Not legal in Europe.
18, totally. You're allowed to
Not
drink
legal.
wine and spirits now. Excellent, and congratulations.
Okay.
Got your ass for lack of a
It's
better
called
phrase.
verbal diarrhea, Hannah. It's called verbal diarrhea.
Thing, Hannah.
What event are you going to be in the next Olympics? Old man watching?
StreamYard video production is going to be Olympic. Have you heard that?
StreamYarding by Holger. Gold medal.
StreamYarding. Yeah. On when was it? Saturday or Sunday? I'm over at my dentist friend watching Germany against Armenia, right? What a great World Cup qualifier game. Very dangerous game because, I mean, Germany played 2-0 against Liechtenstein, which has 30,000 inhabitants. Armenian has many, many more, right? So that was supposed to be...
Was that whole story just to kick Apple again? Seriously, did you tell that whole story just so because it had an Apple punchline to it?
Hannah said guys, they were so giddy
You see what I mean,
that
Hannah?
they, for the first time in their life,
With the
will
pulling of
talk
the
to
Apple
Apple level
thread,
support 4.
it doesn't stop.
Okay?
One little area in all of my devices, they just... And it just
Blue
happens.
bubbles are so cute. I miss them.
Oh, they are.
You've got enough SaaS just on your own. You don't need a
Yeah.
cover for that.
No, I don't need to impress people with my hardware. Alright.
I'm getting that on a t-shirt for you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right.
Episode 18. Holger doesn't need to have...
Alright.
Okay.
Cool.
We out.
It was